Salty Rose here. Today getting ready to ship a guitar halfway across the country. I sold this Gibson Gold Top on Reverb and I'm getting ready to pack it for shipping. First thing I do is make sure I got the guitar, the case, anything I want to send with it like this certificate of authenticity. Make sure I have all my packing materials ready, and I like to ship per Reverb's shipping guidelines. So at a minimum I like to follow their guidelines. Especially in the case of something like this. This is a pricey instrument. I contacted the buyer today and we spoke on the phone and we talked about the sale, we talked about the guitar. I wanted to speak with him specifically to address any concerns he might have with the shipping. He seemed satisfied with me following Reverb's guidelines, so without further ado, here they are. Reverb says what you'll need is packing paper, something like this stuff here, craft paper or other non-abrasive packing material. I like to use bubble wrap. At least one rectangular box in brand new or like condition. And we're going to be sending this guitar in a Gibson box that's going to be packed inside of a FedEx shipping box. So it's going to be double boxed. They tell you to use packing tape. Here's some packing tape. This is some box packaging tape that I got at U-Haul, and I'll use this for things, but I won't use this for sealing the box because this is actually a paper tape. I don't think it's ideal for sealing a box up. I do like the U-Haul products. They make a really good cushioning foam, and that's also where I get the bubble wrap. Besides FedEx boxes, I do like to use U-Haul boxes because they make a really good box. Reverb says what you should not use is do not use newspaper or any other paper with ink because it can stain finishes. Do not use an old box that has lost its structural integrity. And I will be using an old box, but it will be packaged inside of a new box. Do not use movers tape, masking tape, or other weaker tapes. You know, like this stuff. I love this stuff, but it's not good for shipping. Only packing tape. This happens to be Office Depot packing tape. Only packing tape is strong enough to reliably seal guitar boxes. So step one is prep the guitar. Before the guitar is even in its case, there are some important steps. Don't worry if you're shipping without a case or gig bag, these same steps apply. Step one is loosen the strings. Don't detune entirely, but give the strings some slack, which will decrease the amount of tension on the neck. What I like to do is I like to slack tune the guitar, maybe down a whole step. Okay, so here's the trusty snark, and we'll proceed to slack tune. So I'm going to tune it to, I'm going to tune the whole guitar down one whole step. Okay, I like to slack tune a whole step with the snark, and I like it to be in tune when I put it in the case to ship it. I don't know if it's totally necessary to detune the guitar before you ship it. I've bought guitars from online retailers before and had them show up at my house fully tuned at concert pitch and still in tune when they arrived, which I kind of thought was neat. But Reverb advises you to loosen the strings, so I loosen them a whole step. And it does say don't detune entirely, but give the strings some slack, which will decrease the amount of tension on the neck, secure all movable parts. Nothing should be able to rattle around during transit, so it's important to secure any and all loose components. Whammy bars should be detached. Floating bridge or tailpiece, anything that has a potential for movement, put a piece of packing paper between the moving piece and the guitar's body. That condition doesn't exist with this guitar. Especially for vintage or extra valuable guitars, remove the plastic pickup toggle switch and strap pins. So this guitar does have a plastic pickup toggle switch. So I'm going to remove that, put it in the case pocket. I'm going to wrap it with some bubble wrap and put it in the case pocket. Okay, so here is the toggle switch tip going into the accessory compartment in the case. Also inside the compartment is the certificate of authenticity and a case key. Okay, our next step is to separate the strings from the fretboard with a piece of packing paper. Create a long strip of packing paper and insert it between the strings and the length of the fretboard. This will prevent the strings from digging into the frets. There you have it. Okay, the next step is to secure the guitar in its case. Your main goal is the guitar should not be able to move in its case. To accomplish this, follow these steps in order. Body. Around the body, add packing paper or other safe packing material anywhere there's empty space. If the case doesn't fit the guitar snugly, add one or a couple layers of packing paper underneath the entire body. You don't want the body to be able to shift at all during transit. This guitar is fairly well snugly fit in this case. I mean, you can hear it squeaking when you try to move it in the case. And it has a pad underneath the body, a raised pad inside the case, and a neck support right here. It's a long neck support. So it fits in there pretty well, but I'm going to add bubble wrap just to make sure. Okay, so I've added bubble wrap in the kind of the dead spaces in the case around the neck joint. The neck is very well supported by the accessory compartment right here. So I'm not going to add any right there. I added a little bit on the top here because it looks like this might be some dead space at the top of the body between the lid and the top. And then put a little bit around the sides. The neck joint, you want to secure the neck where it meets the body, but you don't want to add so much material that you cause extra strain on the neck. If there's any loose areas along the length of the neck, add one or two long sheets of packing paper underneath. That's not the case here. It's fairly snugly nestled in there. You don't want to put pressure on the neck or anything that obstructs the case when it closes. You just want the case to close snugly around the neck, but the neck should still be free of strain in all directions. It fits real nice in here. The case itself has a raised pad in the lid that holds the neck down. I like to add just one piece of foam just to make sure that it's in there snug. That will work well. Headstock. Keep the area around the headstock. Can you see the headstock? Keep this area around the headstock free of packing materials. For angled headstocks like those found in Gibson guitars, that applies here. Stuffing paper or bubble wrap into the case's headstock cavity can increase the risk of a headstock break. However, if the headstock is resting on the bottom of the case, use a bit of balled up packing paper near the nut to raise the headstock off the bottom. Otherwise, keep this entire area clear of packing paper. So we want the headstock to be kind of floating in space. We have space around the nut. The top of the headstock is not bottoming out on the bottom of the cabinet, nor is it hitting on the sides. The neck supports are holding it in the center of the case. So we're not going to put anything around the headstock. Step 3 is check your work. They want you to close the case, and if you hear the guitar moving around, open the case again and address the problem area. If you're using a box instead of a case, you should make sure the guitar isn't moving within the box in the same fashion. So let's check it. We've got this piece of bubble wrap that I folded so that we're not putting the extra pressure on the bridge. The control knobs are not going to get any extra padding on them. I want those to be kind of free floating. We've got the packing paper under the strings. A little bit of extra packing just to make sure that the guitar it's in there snug. There's packing in the dead areas inside the case. The headstock area is clear and it's not bottoming out in the bottom of the case. It's very secure in here. You can hear it kind of squeaking around when I'm trying to move it. So let's give it the old shake test here. It sounds to me like it's in there pretty snug. Okay, here we have the case with some padding on the ends of the case, getting ready to go into the Gibson box. Bubble wrap. Here's the cover for the top of the case. Shake test. You should fit it inside a crisp new rectangular box, just as you don't want the guitar moving in its case. But you don't want the case to move within the shipping box. Okay, here we've got the FedEx box, and we're going to wrap some bubble wrap around the bottom of the Gibson box before we put it into the FedEx box. Okay, now the trick is to stuff as much paper and foam and stuff around the interior box as you can. Covering the interior box with some bubble wrap, and then we're going to add some more packing paper. The bubble wrap I can pack around the edges of the interior box. And we fill it to the top with packing paper. I think that passes a shake test pretty good. So I like to seal any joints in the box like this here. I put a piece of packing tape all down the side of this joint. Okay, so I've got the guitar packed in the case, got the case packed in a guitar box, got the guitar box packed into this shipping box, and we've followed Reverb's packing and shipping instructions. On the box there's some packing tips, and one of the packing tips is to place a copy of the shipping document inside the packaging, and then to write the shipper and recipient details on an inner flap. This is a expensive instrument, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so I wrote the shipper and recipient info on the flap, and I'm putting a packing slip inside the box. Okay, so we got the packing slip and the shipping label attached to the box. It's all sealed up and ready to go, and it'll be going out in the morning. Thanks for watching.